there was a couple of photographs that he had uploaded and then he took them down. And it was Meghan looking very relaxed, all sultry, lying back on a sofa in between takes or what it was. Now, there's always been that little bit of a rumour between those two that they were more than just colleagues.
Breaking right now, growing speculation that Meghan Markle is plotting a return to the TV show that made her famous, Suits. Now, this is after her co-star Patrick J. Adams shared a previously unseen photo of the Duchess while filming. And the picture is black and white, and we know that there's absolutely no way that Patrick J. Adams would have shared this without Meghan's permission. And of course, Meghan's career is in real trouble. Lots of suggestions that she will not get a renewed Netflix deal, or if she does, it will be on a tiny percentage of the salary of what was previously offered, and will only be secured because of her personal friendship with the Netflix CEO, Ted Sarandos. But this is where things get interesting. Suits is now a mega hit on Netflix. It was never a huge hit when it was broadcast for the first time. It had a cult following. But now that it's on Netflix, and now that Meghan Markle is one of the most famous people in the world, all of a sudden, people are loving Suits. So, of course, there is already talks going on for Suits to return. But it is interesting to me. I don't think it's going to happen immediately, Tash, according to Taz, who is with me now. But I do believe that at some point it is probably likely that Meghan will return to acting, because remember, for a long time she tried to distance herself from Suits, and now the opposite is going on. What are you making of this?
Oh, well, he has dropped some pictures of Meghan a while back. I can't give you the exact month. There was a couple of photographs that he had uploaded and then he took them down. And it was Meghan looking very relaxed, all sultry, lying back on a sofa in between takes or what it was. Now, there's always been that little bit of a rumour between those two that they were more than just colleagues. And obviously that could just be blind. I'm not saying either way. But he does occasionally drop her name. But for me, I really struggle to see this actually coming together, because I think it was, oh, forgive me, off the top of my head, was it the Emmys where they went? It was all of the Suits staff. They went and they were asked about Meghan at various points on the red carpet. And it wasn't great reactions. There were a couple of people that just their faces completely changed when Meghan's name came up. There was the other actress, Gina, I can't remember her surname. She was in a TV show I saw years ago. I'm so terrible with names, Dan. But all of the cast, when they were asked, it was a lot of eye rolling. There was a moment when it was like, oh no, she's changed her number. She doesn't speak to them. And I think that Meghan has treated them very badly. They weren't even invited to the after party of the wedding, the royal wedding. Meghan only allowed her so-called Suits family to come to during the day for photographs to fill bottoms, I suppose, in that big old chapel. And they were uninvited for the evening, and they went off and did karaoke together. So for Meghan now, obviously, money's drying up. She's getting a little bit desperate. I'm sure Patrick J. Evans has no problem with dropping her name every now and then to get their podcast maybe a bit of attention, or if there are rumours. But I'm not so sure that I believe that the rest of the cast are particularly impressed with the way that Meghan has ghosted them or markled them, isn't it? That's the expression.
Markle. Yeah, Markle. She certainly markled the actor who played her father, who gave a very positive interview to the BBC, but said, I haven't heard from her. Now, we know Meghan has a real thing with cutting off her fathers, both on screen and off. But I guess for me, I'm thinking much more strategically here, Tasha, because Meghan's in trouble. There's deep trouble. Her career is effectively over at the moment.
The jam making's not going well, is it?
Well, no, that's a disaster. I mean, that's a complete disaster. But the big issue is this new Netflix show, because she needs a hit. And I just cannot see Meghan cooking for her woke mates being a hit, because Archetypes wasn't a hit. Meghan talking to her woke celebrity friends. And remember, she tried to get everyone on Archetypes, and she secured some decent names, Mariah Carey, Serena Williams, but she didn't get Taylor Swift. You know, she didn't get the types of people who moved the dial. Now, a couple of years on, with Meghan, the most toxic celebrity in the world, even being criticized by the lovies at the Hollywood Reporter. I'm sorry, you're crazy if you're a big celebrity and you agree to go to Meghan's mansion, because it's not going to be good for your reputation. Now, will Serena Williams do it this time? I would be surprised, possibly. But the point that I'm making is the non-fiction stuff with Netflix is not going to be going well. She is going to be backed into a corner relatively quickly unless American American Riviera Orchard takes off. Yeah, unless that takes off, which feels quite unlikely. She is going to be pushed into a corner where probably the most realistic career path for her, where she will still be treated like a diva, where she'll still make a lot of money, is acting. So I just do not believe that is off the table, especially given she is very proud of the resurgence of Suits. Because it's her only hit. Let's be honest, it's the only hit she's had.
It was. I've seen so many clips of Meghan acting. I've seen short clips from films that she's done, and it is kind of painful. But Rachel Zane, they even said that they actually wrote the character around Meghan's personality. So
yeah, it's
I
her,
think that
isn't
really
it?
worked.
It's her.
That's what worked for her. There was a producer or a director that also came out and said that the problem was with Meghan, why they didn't actually take her up when she went for various interviews, was she doesn't know how to play anyone other than herself. So there's a lot to be said about her character, Rachel Zane, the way that she is. That's obviously like her personality. But yes, I mean, she must be running out of options now, and I could see her being more fitting like Real Housewives of something, the Real Housewives of Hollywood. But the problem is she doesn't even have the rich, successful husband to even carry that off. A lot of those shows, you know, that their husbands are big billionaires or multi-millionaires, and they're big film producers and stuff, and people watch it. And the problem is Meghan's not a girl's girl. She's not a girl's girl either. So yeah, the options, it's looking a little bit slim. Harry's millions are only going to last for so long, the way that they keep spending it. But it's certainly, yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be Suits, but you really never know. It depends how desperate they get.
Totally. It is going to be very interesting. Also very interesting this week, Tash, Meghan and Harry's local newspaper in Montecito reporting on the couple's growing rift, which feels very significant. So the Daily Mirror covered it by saying that the Montecito Journal is required reading every week for many of the A-list celebrities who live in this upmarket beach town in Southern California where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle now reside. And let me actually read out to you what the Montecito Journal specifically reported. So they said Meghan Markle visited Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara last week to talk about a new digital wellness program co-founded by the Sussex's Archewell Foundation. So, all quite positive at this point. It was her second public appearance without Harry since her visit to a children's hospital in Los Angeles on October the 5th. And then it gets interesting, remembering that this is the local newspaper that all of her neighbours read. Because they say, as British royal experts continue to speculate, the Riven Rock, that's the suburb of Montecito in which Harry and Meghan reside, the Riven Rock twosome are, quote, going their separate ways as they live increasingly separate lives. Now, the writer for the Montecito Journal is a former British royal correspondent, but it feels very significant that a local newspaper in Montecito is now reporting on the rumours too.
Well, of course, who better to report on local gossip than the people that are actually local? It's the window twitters, the people peering through their curtains. They're going to be the ones that are going to be giving the gossip. But yes, I think it's Richard Maynard, I believe his name is. He's lived in Montecito for 13 years. He's reported for a couple of the UK newspapers, the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror. So he's not exactly someone I would say that has just come from a gossipy rag Radar magazine sort of reporter. So for him to be actually putting that in the grapevine, was it down the grapevine gossip column? I think there is a lot to be said for that. They do say that there has been removal vans and various other things, but there's so much gossip that comes out. It's hard to know what to believe, fact and fiction, you know. But I do think there is something quite significant the Montecito with the Montecito Journal reporting on it, because as you said, it is the must read for the A-listers of the area. So somebody knows something, that's for sure.
Yes, exactly. And look, I have reported over the past few weeks that the marriage is definitely strained, but that doesn't mean that it's going to end, because remember, there are children involved and there are also two big careers involved, and there's a lot of strategizing that has to go on with something like that. It's difficult, but you know what, well, I'm not saying you personally know what it's like, Tash, but I know certainly from friends of mine that when you have kids and when the marriage goes through rocky patches, very often it is the children that makes you want to stay together. But it's interesting that you mentioned Radar Online, because I agree that they're not as credible a source, although every now and then they do break a major story.
They do.
And they have been reporting really strongly, actually, on Harry and Meghan, effectively saying that they are having a trial separation, saying that Harry has been moping around by himself at local cafes in Montecito, saying that the couple are spending extended time apart, talking about the fact that Harry is sort of becoming a bit frustrated with the type of lifestyle that Meghan leads because he doesn't like all of the juicing and the yoga stuff. And this is from one of their sources. His plans to pursue his own activities and tours away from Meghan is the first sign they are effectively on a trial separation while they work it out. Sussex's confident, though, insisted it is normal for couples not to do everything and that they do remain a happy couple. But then the source went on to tell Radar Online, Harry and Meghan are going to live separate lives and have a blueprint for doing so. They have been drifting apart for a while, with Harry's desire to return to the UK where his old drinking buddies are, and his hope to return to the very comfortable fold of the royal family, putting real strain on their marriage. He's hated their bids for stardom, with Netflix and Spotify getting pulled and them ended up ridiculed. And he's starting to miss England. And of course, that is one of the issues for Harry. His ego is massive. And he's got Bill Simmons, you know, the respected boss of Spotify, calling them effing grifters. He didn't get one show off. I mean, it is embarrassing. It is mortifying for Harry. I sort of view him, and I am, look, I don't have sympathy for Harry. I really don't. I feel like this is a guy who was given every privilege in life and his treatment of his family was utterly repulsive. But I think he's a bit like a zoo animal, right? He's institutionalized, and he was very used to doing the sort of royal appearances where he'd turn up, he'd be absolutely treated like royalty and get loads of adoration, and that would pump him up, but he wouldn't actually do anything. And the problem is, it has been such a disaster for him. It's so embarrassing, the fact that he had all of this money, all of these producers, could have worked with any celebrity who he wanted to, and Tash, he couldn't even get one podcast going, not even one. I mean, it is mortifying. And so the problem is, he is returning to type. He basically just wants to travel around the world every now and then, showing up for a few particular functions and getting that adoration again. So clearly that's why there's all of this pressure. But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixers on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. He says they hardly make a dent on your appearance, and some can even be harmful to your skin. Recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? So that he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He says it's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. So in light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public, free and uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. If this helps even one person look younger or feel more confident, I'll be thrilled knowing I helped, Dr. Lake told reporters. The video has since gone viral. At first, it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then, it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far, the comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One viewer even commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Go to bhmd1.com/outspoken, or you can just click on the link in the description box below. Let me repeat, bhmd1.com/outspoken. Now, there is one thing Dr. Lake asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together, we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video at bhmd1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
Yes, you're right. I think that's the best description of Harry. He is institutionalized. He doesn't know how to do anything without having a team of people telling him what to do. I mean, growing up in the royal family, he was looked after by long-term members of staff. Then as he got older and he started doing his own things and taking on charitable endeavors, he wasn't writing his speeches himself. He probably wasn't even picking out what color shirt and tie to wear, what event to do, what flight to catch, what time he had to catch the limo. You know, he's always had people doing everything for him. And I think to lose the level of people, that team that he had surrounding him when he met Meghan, because she made sure that he got rid of long-term loyal staff as well as his friends and family. I think Edward Lane Fox was one of the first ones to quit. I don't think he made it past the wedding, to be honest with you. And Harry has been so lost. He's following Meghan round. It's not the lifestyle that he particularly wants. I mean, Meghan is certainly a lot more tenacious with her plotting and her planning, and I think she's, you know, she definitely writes her own speeches over and over and over and over, and you know, you can see the real difference in Harry. He's become little more than her shadow, and now he is trying to revert back to what he knows. And the problem is he doesn't have royal advisors. He doesn't have long-term loyal staff behind him. He doesn't have that team that made him a successful royal, because aside from his basically family ties and his title, he's not a working member of the royal family. He doesn't have even the likability factor anymore. We've seen far too much of him being angry, bitter, and miserable. So seeing Harry suddenly on the Jimmy Kimmel show having a laugh and joking around, and he's back to being fun, Harry. People can't switch. We've seen 5 years of him being this horrible, miserable, grumpy person that all he wants to do is cause pain and suffering to his family. He's not someone you could sit there and go, oh, he's so funny. He's so charming, isn't he? He's completely destroyed all of that. So I think that he is very, very lost, because you can't just revert back into being a working royal when you're not a working royal. You just.
I so agree. I so agree. I couldn't agree more. The other factor, and this is a little bit mean, but I don't care because he's been mean to so many people, is he's losing his looks. Whatever looks he had, Tash, are going. And you were particularly brutal, I have to say, but I loved it. Because after look at him, alarmingly bald. That's how he'd look, totally bald. Now, I only talk about that because he made such awful comments and spare about Prince William's hairline.
What related to Prince William?
Yeah, he was looking pretty good actually. But look, you posted this was about this poll where he was voted the 25th best looking man ever, and you said on what
Throwing me
planet?
under a bus here, Dan.
You said what on what planet is Harry meant to be hotter than Joe? I don't know this guy, Joe Manganiello. How do I say his?
Manganiello,
No, I don't
he
know
was
him.
Alfie in True Blood. He was the werewolf. How can you
I
not?
haven't watched True
35?
Blood, but I do know Chris
35?
Hemsworth and I do know Henry Cavill. And you say that's some serious gaslighting. Harper's Bazaar. It's like they are wanting people to be nasty, but then I suppose it got the article talked about. But it is interesting because again, I mean, look, there are the men. There's Harry alongside the guys who he's apparently better looking than. Also, by the way, other people like Bradley Cooper and David Beckham, and this was the hottest men of all time. Now, the thing is, look, the poll is ridiculous, but the more serious point is that Harry is losing his looks, and that does matter.
Oh, it does. I mean, I know people are mean about hair loss, and I don't pick on Harry for his hair loss. It's not anything that can be helped, and I think it's rather mean. But there are bits where you think he was rather cruel and vindictive about Prince William. But when he said that, oh, I barely recognise my brother, he looks nothing like my mother anymore, he's lost his looks. And it's like Prince William looks more like Diana now than what he ever had done. He's got all of her bone structure and her face, and I think that's where a little bit of that possessiveness with Harry over his mother's memory and some jealousy. But for Prince William to not even be on that list, everybody knows that he is the hotter brother. But Harry, again, it's not so much as just losing his looks, it's losing that personality. He's lost that fun person, that someone that could laugh at himself. That
he's not the cheeky chap. He's not a cheeky chappy. But the thing is, I actually don't think he ever was. Harry was always pretty nasty, but
it turns out that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the persona was of a cheeky chappy. And the problem is, Meghan blew that persona up by getting him to reveal his deepest, darkest thoughts, all of his nasty feelings about his family, getting him to do weird counselling on television. I mean, he's not a cheeky chappy. He's far from it. By the way, I did want to ask you, Tash, about William's potential olive branch to Prince Harry this week. He actually named Harry for the first time in 6 years. It was all part of this homelessness documentary. Do you... I mean, look, I don't think it really represents any significant thawing, but did you see it as a moment at all, the fact that he named Harry?
I'm going to be sitting here quite happily watching that documentary after I finish speaking to you tonight, Dan, but I do know exactly what you're talking about. I have seen the clip and I've seen the photographs. Prince William is not vindictive. He loved his brother and he obviously got very, very hurt, and I'd imagine he's still devastatingly hurt over everything that his brother's done. But Diana did take both of them to the homeless shelters. And for William to be talking about something, this is obviously very positive. This is about how you can remember Diana for the good things that she wanted to use her name for good things. And obviously the homelessness and homeless charity that Diana was also a patron of, that William now is, Harry was with him. So I think people are just reading into it. They're desperate to grab at any straws. He's not going to deny that his brother was there. It was his younger brother who he loved. And Diana did try and obviously introduce both Harry and William to understand the privileges that they were given, that they were born into an unimaginable amount of wealth and privilege, and to help others. So I think it's good that he did mention his brother, but I think it's just people really clutching at straws, trying to think that there's going to be some sort of big welcome back. I mean, if I was personally Prince William after everything he's done, I would permanently shut that door on
I think it is
brother.
closed. I think it is permanently shut. Because remember, Tash, it wasn't just William himself who Harry targeted in the most revolting way. I mean, he wanted to paint a completely inaccurate picture of his brother as a bully, as a physical abuser. I mean, that is unforgivable, but it is the fact that Catherine was so personally targeted, both in Spare and the documentary, and the Queen, of course. But I think from William's point of view, it was all about, there are certain red lines, and
Oh
when it was
yeah.
Catherine, because the thing is, William never felt he had to protect the Queen. He obviously loved the Queen, of course he did, but he didn't feel he had to protect her, whereas Catherine, he felt it was her responsibility to protect her.
Of course, Catherine was very much, she took Harry under, I say she took him under her wing. They were very close. She was a
Yes.
sister that he never had. And I think as well, it's not just the silly pettiness and the arguments that started between Harry and Meghan, and then it was all of the drama over Catherine didn't share her lip gloss on the balcony, or she didn't give, Meghan a lift. It was the most recent one where Omid again has named Catherine as the royal racist, and Harry has kept his mouth shut. We
Omid
know that,
Scobie, the odd little bloke.
yeah, the odd little bloke, but he did that. And Harry and
Yeah,
Meghan, Harry especially, knowing that Catherine was having cancer treatment,
yeah.
he could have put out a statement via his spokesperson to say that this isn't true. He's used his spokesperson to put out statements correcting the narrative over the most ridiculous and petty things. And he could have shut that down quite simply, saying, this isn't true, this is not happening. And he allowed that to be spread by Omid Scobie, by, of course, then their awful fan base, the Sussex Squad, attacking Catherine while she was recovering from major surgery and, as we now know, was also going through cancer treatment. And Harry has still never, ever once defended her. And I think, again, like you said, that was the ultimate red line with William. I do not think he will ever forgive him. And I don't think people should expect him to either.
I think you're so right. Oh, you were brilliant. Tasha Canal. If you're not subscribed to According to Taz, you've got to make sure you are right now. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.